All right, all right. Looks like we're on the air. Testing, testing, one, two, one, two. All right. Welcome, family. I just want to extend this invitation and welcome to everyone that's chiming in tonight. Welcome to the premiere of my podcast, dealing with some issues, both socio-economically, politically, religiously, issues dealing with the working class, Black Americans, or ADOS, as I like to refer to ourselves across the nation, dealing with issues that are concerning us. The reason for this platform is to give voice, because as we all see in the media today, we don't have that voice. Um, Oftentimes, we tend to find ourselves being spoken for by intellectuals, politicians, and other thought leaders that really don't seem to hit it on the head as to the issues that truly concern us amid this coronavirus pandemic that we're going through. We're going through a lot of changes in our life. Whether folks understand it or not, life has changed forever because of this. We see ourselves facing record unemployment rates. Many of us who are parents are homeschooling our kids, trying to figure out different activities and the whatnot to do with them. And the government has distributed these stimulus checks to help us out a little bit. Not quite sure if I agree with the amount that they are distributing or with the fact that they are also trying to bail out big companies with it. I think that they could give more to the American citizens. $1,200 in most cases don't even pay for anyone's mortgage. A lot of landlords are not being very understanding with some folks who are paying rent. Um, it's been a serious turnaround for everyone. It's been definitely a reset button that has been pressed by this coronavirus, and that's tonight what I want to kind of talk about. Um, Spoken to a lot of friends and family. Everyone's sheltered in, trying to stay vigilant with being safe. Um, Lifestyle changes have happened with a lot of folks where they're exercising more, eating better, you know, taking a really close look at their health. And that's good. If it's one thing we could say that this virus has done, it has definitely triggered something in a lot of us to make us take a second look at how we're living, looking at what we're intaking into our bodies and how we're spending our money, how we are just conducting ourselves socially on all levels. But the fact remains that this virus, there's no vaccine in sight for it, no time soon at least. Last report I saw coming from the CDC and specifically Dr. Fauci, I think that's how you say his name, with the Trump administration, he estimated that it would take approximately a year or a year and a half for a vaccine to be made. Now, until then, I personally don't see much changing for us as far as getting back to normal. I think we will continue to see record job loss. I think we will continue to see record unemployment applications filed. Um, I don't see an end to this until a vaccine is made readily available to the general public, to resolve this issue. I know in my personal life, I've had to cancel events, and we shelter in place. Um, my profession um, makes me an essential worker when in which I have to deal with the public on a regular basis and always, being protected, wearing gloves, wearing my mask, keeping sanitizer around, washing hands. When I come in the house, I have to take off my clothes before I enter the house. My fiance, she ain't playing that, and that's fine because we want to stay safe. And I'm sure with many of the other essential workers, they probably going through the similar routine with their family and loved ones when they come home. Well, I ran across an article I wanted to share with you guys from the Washington Post, where it stated that a record 3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits as the coronavirus slams the economy. This was dated March 26, 2020, by reporters Heather Long and Elisa Fowers. According to the report, a record 3.3 million Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week, the Labor Department said Thursday, as restaurants, hotels, barbershops, gyms, and more shut down in a nationwide effort to slow down the spread of the deadly coronavirus. Last week saw the biggest jump in new jobless claims in history, surpassing the record of the 695,000 set in 1982. And many economists say this is the beginning of a massive spike in unemployment that could result in over 40 million Americans losing their jobs by April. By April. Laid off workers said that they waited hours on the phone to apply for help. Websites in several states, including New York and Oregon, crashed because so many people were trying to apply at once. The most terrifying part about this is that this is likely just the beginning of the layoff, said Martha Gimbel, a labor economist at Schmidt Futures. The nation's unemployment rate was 3.5% in February, people, a half century low, but that has likely risen already to 5.5%, according to calculations by Gimbel. And the nation hasn't seen that level of unemployment since 2015. Now, of course, the Senate passed the largest aid package every Wednesday, in an effort to help struggling American workers, businesses, and hospitals during this unprecedented economic contraction. The bill includes $1,200 checks for most Americans and additional money for laid off workers. We may well be in a recession. And Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, in his first appearance on morning television on NBC's Today Show, stated that the first order of business is to get the virus under control and then resume economic activity. Thing about it is, with all these jobs being lost, many of them won't be coming back. A lot of them won't be coming back. And I personally see a lot of restaurants, for instance, who normally would have dining room areas for folks to come in. I see them retooling themselves into larger takeout type businesses. Um, I don't see very many people feeling confident enough without a vaccine being made available to the mass market, feeling comfortable about going out to eat and being around other people. I think this has forever changed the restaurant business. I think that for most of us, even in our personal lives, dating has changed, how we interact with our family members, whether or not we're going to visit them on a regular has changed. Shout out to Zoom and other software like that allows you to screen share and do video conferencing to stay in touch with your loved ones. My mom, in particular, is in a nursing home. And for the last 3 weeks, we have not been able to go and physically visit her because of this shutdown, which I don't like it, but I accept it and I understand it. And it's all done to keep the residents safe, to keep them free from contacting this virus. Fortunately, however, I do have staff that have been willing to do video chatting between my mother and I, and maybe many of you have gone through this and have loved ones in nursing homes that you can't see right now. And if you haven't done that, try that video chatting. See if the nursing home will allow that to happen so that you'll be able to see your loved ones as well. Many of my friends that are parents, I'm not one, but many of my friends who are parents are now homeschooling their children. Um, they've gone online and quite a few resources to help them in that effort to make sure that the kids are learning. Um, some folks who have been laid off have pitched in, and they're trying to make the most of this time being sheltered at home, taking on new projects. Quite a few people are advancing their educations, discovering new hobbies, doing stuff around the house to occupy their times. But it's a lifestyle change. This is forever going to be different for us. Stimulus package that our Congress has decided to give us $1,200 aid and relief to most most of us who are working adults, small business owners, all receive some help. However, it would be safe to say, in my opinion, that this can't be a one-time deal for us. With the way that this pandemic has affected the American people, this is going to have to continue. As a matter of fact, I do believe that monthly we're going to have to receive some type of stimulus to offset the unemployment that we're facing and the lifestyle changes that we're facing. Economically, we won't be able to make it without some assistance from the government. Some folks can say that that's a handout. I've heard that criticism. But in the name of public safety and of rescuing the economy and being of real assistance to the American citizenry, I would not call that a handout. If anything, it is what's due. We pay our taxes, and in most cases, our tax money is spent on projects and in areas that most of the citizenry don't agree with. But when it comes down to this pandemic and the hardships that most Americans are facing, we are due this money. As a matter of fact, again, I believe that we should be due more. It's going to take a lot more than just $1,200 to help most American families get through this. And again, this is going to have to be a lasting, continuous payment to us. It is, in my opinion, that the Trump administration may very well have to adopt Andrew Yang's idea of a universal basic income, at least for the next year and a half. Yes, Republicans, we're all socialists now. You can get over that. Um, you may not like the idea of the government stepping in to help out the American people, but it is definitely what is necessary. This has nothing to do with political ideology. This is about helping the American people. And we need that help. On my mail route, on my job, I've had the opportunity to talk to quite a few of my customers. See a lot of the dads who normally will be working every day at home, walking the dog, taking care of yard work, babysitting the kids, taking walks with the family, and truly trying to keep things together, attain a sense of normalcy within their lives, as I'm sure many of you are, as definitely I am. But I want everyone to understand that this ain't over. And I do want for all of us to prepare for the upcoming months of continued unemployment, continued hardship, and to pay attention to the reports by the CDC. We do have to shelter in place because, according to them, only a nationwide shutdown of all activity will help curb or flatten, rather, the spread of this coronavirus. Now, I know that's against some of the opinions of a lot of religious folk, a lot of the damn criminals, a lot of political fanatics, but this is for public safety. And your ideology, your political stance, and your desire to commit crimes. Because those are the people that we see out there not not taking heed to the shelter in place orders. Y'all got to cut that shit out because you are putting the public at risk. The selfishness that you guys display is of no service to the American people, and it just needs to stop. It just needs to stop. um I currently reside in the state of Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And Illinois, here we've seen an increase in the coronavirus deaths and number of people who have contracted this virus. According to ABC Chicago, Illinois coronavirus deaths, the toll reached 274, including a second fatality linked to a Stateville prison outbreak, which is also where we have to be concerned about this virus taking over, is in our prison system. Many of our loved ones are locked up, and something has to be done to make sure that they are protected, that they are made safe. But I doubt that's going to happen. But when it's all said and done, pressing the reset button, what are you doing in your life to deal with this coronavirus pandemic? What changes are you making in your life to handle this? In about a year from now, hopefully, when this virus has a vaccine made, what will life be like for you? What will life be like for all of us? It's a question I think we need to be asking for ourselves. Now, those of us who have been able to continue to work, most of us who are what they call essential workers, this may very well be one of the best times for us to make financial investments, whether that be in certain companies within the stock market. Despite the poor performance that we see it having, we can be assured that it will bounce back. It always does. Also in real estate, huge opportunity for us to take advantage of that in various other ways. Education. This is the time, I think, for all of us to reevaluate where we are and where we want to go and what we're doing in order to get there. This is not the time to dwell on conspiracy theories. This is not the time to shout out and keep expressing your religious zealotry. This is not the time to stay thugging it in the streets, committing crimes against your fellow citizens. As Samuel L. Jackson so eloquently stated in his video, get your ass in the house. That's what we need to be doing. Let's not play games with this, people. Wear your mask, stay sanitized, wash your hands. Hell, wash your ass. Okay? We need to get this under control and talk to your loved ones. Make sure that they're staying sheltered in place. And above all, stay prayed up, people. Stay prayed up. Pray that a vaccine is found in a short amount of time to help prevent the deaths that we continue to see every day. Those of you who think this is a hoax, a hoax, look at the death toll. That's not a hoax. That's real. That's facts. So your ideas about 5G affecting this, leave it alone. Leave it alone. It has nothing to do with it. There's no scientific proof to prove that. Um, it's just pure speculation. But in the meantime, like I said, I want to appreciate everyone for chiming in. I appreciate everyone for viewing us tonight. And next week, around the same time, hopefully, we will have a panel of some of the friends and family that are part of my YouTube and Facebook pages to chime in and share their experiences. The purpose of this podcast is to give voice to working class Americans. The purpose of this podcast is to share with other Americans what we're all going through, to share with other Americans what we think, feel, and experience in America. Shout out to my ADOS family. Love you. Shout out to my friends and family for chiming in. I appreciate that. And next week we'll do it again. But until then, good night, everybody. I'll holla.